Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday. How are we doing?
You're keeping us on our toes, Alex. That's what you're doing.
I was just saying that to Baz. I'm like, you know what? When it rains, it pours. If you could put in all the TSD, human error and tech error into 1 week. That happened in the last 7 days. So I want to start off by apologizing to anyone who's been inconvenienced by what's happened over the last few days, 7 days. So thank you in advance for your understanding. But I'm here now. Jessica, I'm not Jessica. I'm sure you're well aware. Sorry to break the bad news to you guys. She's sadly unwell. So, but we're here now is the main thing. So like I said, when it rains, it pours. But I want to thank you for all being here. So today, guys, talking about perspective. Before we dive into this, though, into the chat, any newbies here, comment in the chat, say hello. There's a chat button there. Click chat to anyone, introduce yourself, say hi, and then if we can give that person a welcome, that'll be just lovely. Perfect. So into the chat, if you're brand new here, give us a wave. Pretty sure Tracy Stewart, where are you, Tracy? There you are. Huge welcome to Elite. How are you doing, Tracy?
Trisha.
There we go. Apologies, Trisha. And I can see Daryl's here as well on iPhone. Click on that as well.
Yeah, I'm struggling with the technology today, but we'll get there. I don't know if I've got my name properly.
No worries. I'm not going to call you iPhone FK2DCOKN6N. No worries. No stress. Lovely to have you here. Who else is here, guys? Lisa as well. We can give this massive welcome, Lisa. What are you doing? Give us a wave as well. So good to see you. Fantastic. Right, let's dive in. So, as always, with anything, we always start with why something is important. So, changing our perspective, altering our perspective. Why do we think, into the chat, altering our perspective is important? Any ideas? Allows change more generally. Absolutely, Trisha. Yeah. Changes your focus from the negative towards the positives. Absolutely, Deborah. Definitely. Circumstances change, so mindset changes. Focus keeps us on from staying stuck. It stops derailment as well, definitely. Different perspectives can achieve different outcomes. 90% of life, in my opinion, is our attitude to it. Has anyone here ever read the book Man's Search for Meaning? Viktor Frankl. Right, that's a challenge for you out the gate, guys. Man's Search for Meaning, Viktor Frankl. Okay, I'm going to do a spoilers alert here and tell you what actually the book is about, because I want you guys to listen to it and I want you to read it. It is one of the most profound and famous books on perspective. So, Viktor Frankl was a famous psychologist who very sadly was put into a concentration camp during World War II. He was Jewish, and on the first day, his wife was killed in front of him. So this man has been through more heartache than a hell of a lot of people. I'm just going to mute everyone for a second, just so you can hear me. There we go, guys. Okay. And what he does is he finds ways of finding joy in the worst circumstances. A couple of ways he does this is he appreciates nature around him, like a tree, a simple thing like a tree. He tries to find ways of finding humor in a place where you'd imagine humor would never belong. And there's a few other ways he talks about in the book in how he's able to not just get through each day, but have a big meaning and a big impact on the world by writing the book that he told himself he would do when he came out of it. So Man's Search for Meaning. It's very powerful. It's about shifting perspective. Okay, so these are some reasons why it's important to shift perspective. How we do it is inputs is a perfect example. So let's look at it. So hands up, client celebrations. Who here has watched a client celebration at 7:30 on a Monday night? Hands up. I'm hoping we have everybody. When we have somebody on who's achieved some incredible things, loads of hands up, brilliant. So hands up again. What do we feel that we take from that? Speaking now, guys, unmute yourself if you can. What do we take away from listening to celebration? Go ahead, Jackie.
Inspiration.
Inspiration, absolutely. Inspiration. Do we think that increases motivation or decreases it?
Increases.
Increases it.
Increases.
Yes, Deborah, absolutely. Go ahead, Deborah.
I was going to say it gives you hope. I think it gives you hope because you can see that you can change your life and it's never too late. And I think, you know, like most of us are of a certain age, if you know, not very many of us are really young, but we are proven to everybody you can do something and it's never too late to turn your life around.
100%. 100%. And it's why I find when people share their struggles the most valuable, because it means that other people who have got similar struggles don't feel alone. Has anyone here heard of Frances Medcraft, who's working with David? Fran, anyone know Fran? Okay, so Fran told me she didn't feel confident enough about doing a celebration. So I did one with her privately today over Zoom. I'm going to be sharing it the next few weeks, and it was one of the most emotional ones I've ever done. Fran had a stroke in 2020 and really struggles with her speech. And because she knows what we're doing with the Stroke Association this year, she agreed to share her story and how she decided on the day it happened. She literally says, I had a tantrum. Then I decided, right, I'm going to get over this. And how someone can show such grit and perspective on life is it's incredible. So with the celebrations, like all of you wonderful people who either have been celebrated or have watched other people being celebrated, it can put things in perspective because you can see that other people are going through similar struggles as well. Does that all make sense, everybody? Brilliant. Where else is a great way, or where else do you get inspiration from? Where else do you feel that the perspective or your perspective can be altered?
Inner circle.
Inner circle, absolutely, Jack. Putting it back in your Jackie for a second, if you don't mind. Inner circle, why does that, or how does that change our perspective?
Because we can see the progress that other people are making, the little steps that they're taking to make improvements and habit building, and you can resonate their story with your story and you have that connection.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Connection, resignation. If someone's going through a struggle and you can see how they've got through it, they're sharing as well. Who here has posted a give on the inner circle? Hands up. Oh my gosh, loads of hands. Those of you don't know what a give is when you find a strategy or a technique that you have used that has helped you and you share it to help other people. Who benefits from you posting a give?
Everyone.
The receiver and the giver.
Absolutely, absolutely, Tricia, completely, as we talked about earlier, the receiver and the giver, everyone benefits. And that is another reason as to why having these inputs are so important for changing perspective, because it changes your focus, and what we think about or focus on expands. And if you're focusing on things like that, new strategies or new aha moments, it tends to impact our mood. Who here has been in a bad mood before and has felt the world is going to end because they're tired or they're hungry? You can see lots of nods. My first personal check is, when did I last eat? if I notice that. Making sure that we change our perspective physiologically by being hydrated, by being well rested, by being well fueled. Well fueled, super important, super important. Who here has ever felt the need to slow down, step away, go for a walk from a situation? Yeah, loads of hands up here. Anyone like to share their story with that? Go ahead, Jane. Jane Mitchell, hand up. I'm going to ask to unmute you. Hang on.
I was trying to lower my hand down, sorry.
You're up now.
No, I do regularly have to walk away. I think I've mentioned it to you before. My parents are very negative and very judgmental, and I do very often just have to walk away because otherwise I would just be at rock bottom. So
yeah, because they pull you down with you, don't they? You know, negative people or toxic people. I'm not saying your parents are toxic, but I have had some toxic people in my life who have pulled me down. So stepping away, walking away from it. How does that change our perspective, though? How does walking away from that change our perspective? Any ideas?
I think it gives you time to reflect and to realise that actually it's not your issue, it's the issues that they've got that they're not dealing with.
Absolutely, 100%. Reflection is one of the most powerful tools. One of the most powerful tools. It is so powerful. It allows you to reflect, but look at what's happened. Ask yourself, am I catastrophizing the situation? Who here watched the email I sent out last week on catastrophization? Anyone watched that? There we go. I got a hand up. Anything that we'd like to share that we learned from that, or one thing at all that we can move forward and how we can minimize catastrophization, aka changing our perspective? Go ahead.
Sorry if that's me. One of the things is, how important is it going to be in, you know, a day, a week, 6 months?
Definitely. Future pacing with it. Future pacing. Ask yourself, is this going to be something? Is this going to be a thing in 7 days? Is this going to be a stressor in 6 months' time? When we're stressed and we have a presentation and we haven't rehearsed it, or we're running behind, or there's traffic and the USB doesn't work, or the laptop won't turn on, these are the kind of things that are immediate stressors for something that's urgent because it's timetabled and about to happen now. But then all of a sudden the presentation gets done, and then an hour later it's all forgotten about because you found a way through it. So ask yourself, is this going to be an issue in 7 days' time? Is this going to be an issue in 6 months' time? Is this helpful, guys? Okay.
Yeah.
Put it back on you guys for a second. What other mechanisms can we use to change or impact our perspective of the scenario? Any ideas? Rhonda Rice, go ahead.
Yeah, to separate the emotion from the reaction.
Yeah, brilliant. Separate the emotion from the reaction. That can be going for a walk, slowing down, putting it on paper, writing down what happened, writing down what you learned from it, and then getting a lighter and burning the whole thing on fire. Anyone ever do that before? Hands up, a few hands up. I did it yesterday. when there was another issue with the masterminds. Literally yesterday I did it, and I did it in the dark, so it was very impactful. I used a big piece of A2 paper as well, so it was proper. So proper bonfire. It is very impactful. If you feel like you're letting people down, obviously it's going to impact you. Obviously it's going to impact you. So that is a very powerful way of doing it. Liz McMahon, I've seen your hand up.
Sometimes it helps to try to look at something objectively, to take yourself out of it and think, well, how would somebody else see this situation? You know, am I correct in how I'm looking at it? What would, if I asked a good friend, what would they say to me about this situation? I find that quite helpful.
That's brilliant, Liz. That does two things. It forces you to look at it logically, takes the emotion out of it, like Rhonda says, and it slows you down. Brilliant. That's brilliant. And I think that is really important. It's also why it's important to, well, I'm certainly an oversharer. I'm sure you've gathered that by now. So you have in every aspect of who I am and what I do. And I actually really recommend it, because the amount of times that I've overshared something and the person gave me a bit of advice, or I'll give you an example. We did some house renovations last year. I haven't got a clue about house renovations, not a clue, not even the foggiest. And I'd overshare with my friend and he'd say, well, actually be careful there, don't do that. And then you're going to have that person give you an insight that perhaps you've never seen. Or it can be how you speak about yourself. Anyone here ever be pulled up by a friend or family member about them putting themselves down? Yeah, all the time, loads of hands up. When you overshare that and when someone corrects you, does it make you feel better about yourself or worse about yourself? better from Sally. Yeah, better. Yeah. I
I'm
think
going to stop listening to the lives with Peter because he's just constantly says this, get your hand up, get comment and put your hand up. That's you. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm not listening to this with you anymore. It's like I have you, David and Peter telling us off.
I spoke to
Aye.
a tough mother and I was like, we've got to keep at her now, Peter. We've got to keep
Oh,
at
I'm like, don't worry, he is.
Brilliant, brilliant. Sam, you've your hand up as well. Thanks, Deborah.
Yeah, so I suppose it's about grounding yourself, and there's a technique. Probably everybody's probably heard of it. I've done it with my guides a few times. It's like, I can never reach the order. It's like 5 things you can see and 4 things you can smell, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can touch, and something you can taste. And you run through them, and it's meant to kind of just focus you back in on yourself and on your immediate, on your mindfulness kind of now, rather than all of the shit that's happening around you.
Remember, you mentioned that to me a few months ago. That's brilliant. If you can put that in the chat for us, that'd be amazing. If you're okay, I guarantee there'll be loads of people here who will benefit from that. The 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 method. And what it does is it gets you to, again, slow down, focus, be where your feet are. It's very hard to not be where your feet are. Anyone here ever heard that expression before? It's important to be where your feet are. Anyone not know what that is? Okay. Be where your feet are is about, I remember I was down with some friends in a park in Edinburgh a few years back, and there was 4 students there, and they were sitting back to back, 4 of them, facing as far away from each other as possible, all on their smartphones. And I was thinking, that is the personification of not being where your feet are. Beautiful day, sun setting, and they're just on their iPhones. And I was thinking, that's such a shame. Being where your feet are is making sure that you're really present wherever you are, really, really present. And if you do Sam's method, and if you could share that, Sam, with the inner circle, that would really help some people as well, if you don't mind doing that. What it will do is it allows people to have to be where their feet are, because there's no way you can complete that exercise and be thinking about something that's happening next week, because you really have to concentrate to do it. Anyone else got experience or a suggestion for what they've done to help change their perspective?
I've used the thing that you taught us ages ago, actually, the box breathing, just stepping outside if I'm inside, and then just use the box breathing.
Yeah, that's brilliant, Rashmi. Thank you for that. So box breathing, guys, those who don't know what it is, it's when we inhale slowly for 4 seconds, pause for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, and then breathe out for 4 seconds. So breathe in slowly for 4 seconds, pause for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, breathe out for 4 seconds. I use that, I'd say, every 3 days. If I notice my emotional state changing, as in like I'm becoming a little overwhelmed or I'm breathing shallower, if you're able to be aware of your breath and you notice you're breathing shallower, you start to notice if you're getting stressed. Slow down, box breath, it is incredible. It also is a great way of falling asleep as well, actually. So I've used it if I can't get back to sleep. The last 3 nights have been the most, we'll say, adventurous 3 nights as a dad that we've had so far with Sky. So it's been great to do box breathing to try and get back to sleep quickly as possible. So Rhonda, you were first. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just, since I've been on TSD, my sort of mental state, I've been up and down like a yo-yo. I sort of put everything into practice and it works, and then suddenly it doesn't work, and then you sort of go on the inner circle, you can get some of it back, and then it just comes and goes.
Oh,
it's like a roller coaster.
Look at this. I have this in front of me. I keep saying, great handwriting, by the way. You ready for this, guys? Here we have ebbs and flows. Ebbs and flows. I have that literally beside a picture of my sister here in front of me. Ebbs and flows. Because what that does is it manages your expectations of what today is going to be like. Do you have it as well, Deborah? Brilliant. Ebbs and flows. And why that's so powerful, guys, is that I see that and I'm like, today is going to be up and down. There's going to be some challenges. If there was no challenges, I wouldn't be challenged. If I wasn't challenged, I'm not going to get better. You grow through adversity, not through plain sailing. And that's really important, guys. So being aware of that before it happens, being aware that there will be tough days. Last night, finally got Sky back to sleep I knocked a full pint of water over the extension lead, blew the fuses all upstairs in the house. All the electric went, screaming baby. And I was thinking ebbs and flows, ebbs and flows. But you're going to have these things happen. And if you expect it, there's a great expression that I'm sure you've heard, which is, if I couldn't laugh, I'd cry. Who said that before? Who here has said, if I couldn't laugh, I'd cry?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really gentle, refreshing statement of not just sharing something, but it automatically adds a film of niceness around what you're going through. So thank you for sharing that, Rhonda. So my advice would be, some things will work some days and not other days. Keep trying different mechanisms, and eventually the frequency of the tough days, or your awareness of the day being tough, tends to change, because it doesn't impact you as much. And I've noticed that, like things that would happen, if stressors that I've had in the last 7 days had happened last like 12 months ago, I wouldn't be as well able to handle them. So that comes with time and repetition, and I really, really believe that. Marie, go ahead.
Yeah, I got a really good tip a number of years ago from a counsellor, and things at work were really bothering me.
Yeah.
And they said to me, it was relationships with people that I was managing at the time. And she said to me, how do you think the other person views you? And it's kind of like the friend in the chair scenario. So I was thinking I was like, you know, being really useless and that they all hated me or whatever. And actually, you know, I was sort of sitting in, she said, sit in their chair and sort of say, well, how the other person might view me, because I was her boss. And I was much more successful than her, and I didn't see it that way. And it was a really, really good tip for working relationships all through my working life. And I think friendships as well, and how we see ourselves. Like, I think you said to me in a conversation, you know, that other people may see me in the inner circle as a good example, whereas I think, oh God, you know, I'm so pathetic, I can't shift this extra 5 kilo, but actually, you know, the progress has been a lot since the start, really. But that it's a good tip. I get it. It's quite useful for me.
100%. And on that note as well, if someone's taken 2 attempts or 4 attempts to get their driving test, does it really matter at the end of the day? Does it matter or change your life in any way at the end of the day if it takes you 4 times versus twice? Does it stop you from driving in any possible way? So if it takes 6 months or 12 months to lose 5 kilos, is that really going to impact you if it takes a little bit longer? No, not at all. Absolutely. It doesn't. What matters is you keep moving forward. What matters is you keep trying. What matters is you're stopping it going in the opposite trajectory, which people very easily forget about. What happens if you did quit? What happens if you went the other way? You know, and that's a win, that you don't quit. It's a win that you keep moving forward. Thank you for sharing that, Marie. That's really good. Really appreciate that. Tricia, go ahead, and then Liz. Can you hear me, Tricia?
Yeah, I don't think I
sorry,
had it.
just
Oh,
trying to
other-
sort out
Tricia,
my
it's okay.
microphone.
Tricia Rayburn, my bad. Sorry. Tricia Rayburn.
There's a couple of things that I do with the people that I work with, and one, and it's an acronym, and it's called IMPROVE. So it's about improving the moment. So the I stands for using imagery, the M stands for, you know, finding some meaning, the P stands for prayer, the R stands for relaxation, the O stands for one thing, so one thing to focus on, and that's about being in the moment. The V is vacation, so actually removing yourself from that situation, and the E is for encouragement. So that's kind of something that you can have in the back of your mind, that you can look at using in any kind of scenario. The other one, and I think it's something that I use certainly when it comes to exercise and things like that, is what we call half smile and willing hands. So actually what people will find is if they can act opposite to their emotion at that time. So they may be feeling angry, but if they can smile, then actually they can start to dissipate that anger or dissipate that unwillingness to do something, and actually turn that into a more positive reaction. And that's kind of acting opposite. And the same with willing hands. There is something about how it can change your attitude. If you have your hands closed, it's a very insular and contained situation. But as soon as you start to open your hands out and kind of offer them forward, that in itself is a movement. And then I guess that then fits into the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's a movement, and you start doing something as opposed to staying stuck to the spot.
That's brilliant, Tricia. And I love the open hand thing in particular. It's very welcoming, isn't it? Very welcoming as well. And the mind can be forced to follow the body. So when you smile, it does start to alter your mood. You know, I mean, it does genuinely, physiologically start to alter your mood. That's brilliant advice, Tricia. And again, if you don't mind me asking, if you could share that in the chat and in the inner circle, there's so many who would really take advantage of that, if that's okay with you. That'd be brilliant. Liz, go ahead. Can you hear me, Liz? Liz McMahon, have I lost you?
Yeah, okay. Mine is a little bit different, Alex. I'm just coming at it from a different perspective. I'm quite a reactive person, and certainly that can be a difficulty when you're dealing with maybe awkward family, or in the past when I've dealt with a messy divorce and things like that. To be too reactive, it also means you're trying to solve everybody's problems for them, and sticking your neck in where you don't need to put it sometimes. And one of the things that I learned from doing quite a lot of counselling at the time was that inaction is also a really important reaction to people. And it's something that I tell myself quite a lot when there's a lot of stuff going down, when there's a lot of tempers high, when there's a lot of stuff going on and I want to get in and sort it out with my children or my parents who fight all the time and have been married 71 years and still fight all the time, and that's them. I walk away and I say to myself, inaction is also a reaction. And that comforts me because I feel like I've actually have done something, even though I've only said it to myself, you know. So that I find is a great protective mechanism when most women are trying to solve their families all the time and trying to keep the peace and trying to do all those things. And I find that's good. And even if I feel overwhelmed, sometimes as we do get with TSD, with everything else that's going on, and I think, oh, too much, I just think inaction is also a reaction. Don't be running around like a headless chicken. Go and take some time and just be. Just don't do anything. That, you know, if the problem is big, it won't go away. It will still be there for you to try and solve later. But to try to just not always be finding a solution, but to just remind yourself that it's also an action to do nothing and to just see how something pans out.
That's brilliant, Liz. And I really like that because that changed our perspective. Inaction isn't doing nothing. Inaction isn't doing nothing. It's a choice to do inaction. Because I have another sign up here saying that tomorrow I will make a better decision. Tomorrow I will make a better decision. If I feel that my emotional state is down or my energy is down, I'll make sure I put it into my journal. A new little trick with the journal, by the way, guys, and I'm going to go back to that in a second, Liz, is I've started to write my 3 things to accomplish in my journal the night before. So no longer doing it in the morning. I still do my gratitude in the morning, my affirmations in the morning, but doing the 3 things I'm going to accomplish tomorrow the night before. Any idea why that's powerful or why it works?
You're thinking about it during the night, so you've already geared to what you're going to accomplish, and therefore subconsciously your mind's already gearing yourself to the wins, for those 3 wins. And also it's you have time to consider it more.
100%. I only started doing this 7 days ago, and it's been brilliant. I'm telling you now, it means that when having a breakfast, your subconscious is already solving the problem. You're already pre-planning it. You're not coming in like a rabbit in the headlights, right? Today's the day. I'm here right now. Here's my laptop. What do I do first? You're not like that. You don't feel flustered. You're far more in control. So you could tie that in with what Liz said about tying it in with inaction. You're not actually solving any problems. You're just saying, tomorrow I'm going to. Future Alex can worry about that. Future Alex can deal with that. So Liz, I think that's brilliant in terms of changing our perspective on I suppose, a false need of always needing to decide something there and then, or need to always have the answer. Don't always have to have the answer. Tricia, go ahead. Can you hear me, Tricia? Tricia Rayburn?
Sorry, I think I forgot to lower my hand.
No worries, and I'm glad you were in the room anyway. It'd be worse if you weren't. Grand, no worries at all. Right, brilliant. Something else as well, guys. Gratitude. Who here practices gratitude? Loads of people. Brilliant. There is very few things we can do that has got as much psychological evidence backing behind improving our mood, perspective, and happiness in practicing gratitude. It is so powerful. Writing down what we're grateful for and why we're grateful for it. Something I've been doing recently is a subtraction method. Anyone here ever heard of the subtraction method of gratitude? So this is where, let me think of an example. The tire blew out my car last month, and flat tire. I got home and I was thinking, oh, it's a bit of a faff now. I have to arrange getting a new tire. And then I realized, or I did the subtraction method, which is, what would it be like if you never had a car? What would it be like if you had to walk to the shops every day, or if you had to pump a lift everywhere? And then all of a sudden, do you think I had more appreciation for my car or less appreciation for it? More appreciation for it. Little one as well, actually, which is a toaster. My grandmother used to cook the toast on the grill and turn. Anyone here ever cooked toast on the grill before where you turn it? Yeah. And to be fair to her, it was brilliant. You know, it was great. But the downside is no one else can cook a meal if she was making toast. So something as little as that we take for granted. Like, who here has ever felt grateful for a toaster? I certainly haven't. You know, it's things that you don't think about. But being able to imagine, what would life be like if I didn't have that? Like, whenever our little, probably oversharing again, we have a little dog called Casey. She's a Cadachon, and she's the dirty one of the two. And when I mean the dirty one of the two, I mean that she goes upstairs whenever someone stays overnight, or she's been away with us for weekend traveling. She protests, goes up the stairs, and poos on my side of the bed. Always on my side of the bed, by the way, I'll add that. Never, ever on my wife's side of the bed. Always on my side of the bed. Thankfully, I've never sudden it or anything like that. But of course, it's not entirely pleasant to find it late on a Sunday night. But I imagine what life would be like if I didn't have that little dog. And a lot of ye have said that ye first came across TSD from me popping up on Facebook. It was actually a picture of me and Casey. That was a photograph that we used for over a year. So I've got to be grateful to her for that as well. So gratitude, super powerful. Who here has a rewards list? Hands up. I seen Deborah posted this last week. Fair play, Deborah. Anybody else got a rewards list? Okay, right. That's going to be the challenge for our little breakthrough room right now. What I'd like you to do is build out a rewards list.
Sorry, Alex, what is that?
A rewards list is when we have a list of things we can go to immediately when we find ourselves dropping in terms of mood, dropping in terms of perspective, getting flustered, frustrated. Obviously, we can't all of a sudden go horseback riding every day in the middle of the office. I'm pretty sure they give it McQuare looks bringing a horse across the tables. But what we can do is, yes, we can't have a bath either, but we can do some things. We can go for a nice coffee. We can go for a walk. I use exercise. I use it as a means of resetting myself. It's why I go for a walk in the day, and I also train the day, and I break them up. Finding a rewards list, whether it's going to the garden, picking raspberries, playing with the dog, looking at photographs of family. It doesn't have to be extravagant. It can be something simple, but having a rewards list. Denny, you going out looking at your garden. You know, it can be something that just gives you some peace and some reward, something that can be very powerful. Or Denny, your granddaughter, beautiful granddaughter they showed me pictures of, you know, like full of joy, like me going down to see Sky, like in between phone calls. Having a rewards list, but no one having one if you don't act on it. So I want you to pick things now that you can do or use at times where you feel you're more likely to need them. And to bring this one level further, a day is a snapshot of our lives. So if you do things during the day that make you happy, the chances are you're going to end up being a happier person. So I don't think we should work hard all of our lives and then wait for our retirement to be happy. And I don't think we should work hard 50 weeks of the year and then have a 2-week vacation. That's the only period of happiness we have either. We have to integrate it into the day. So try and pick things that you feel will genuinely improve your mood and perspective. I'll see you guys back here in 15 minutes. Those of you who are new to this, a little button is going to crop up now in a second where you're going to meet some other individuals, and then you can share your story if you wish. You don't have to if you don't want to, but if you can together build out a list of things that you can do as a rewards list, and I'll see you guys in 15 minutes. Click that little button and we'll speak very soon. Hello, Shan. Good to see you. How you doing? Can you hear me, Shan? I've just moved you to room 1, Shan. If you see a button jump up, if you can kindly click on that button, join room 1. There we go. Hello, Cheryl. How's things?
Hello, I am back home. Sorry about earlier.
No worries at all. No worries at all.
I
Good.
tried to message you at the same time as trying to sit in the meeting and be discreet.
Oh, well, at least you weren't driving. I'll be honest. You weren't driving. How do we find that, everybody?
Yeah, it was good.
Brilliant. What did we take from that? What new rewards do we have? Into the chat, please. What new rewards do we have on our list?
Hi, we're back.
Great stuff. Right, I'm going to mute everyone for a second. There's a little bit of disturbance. 2 seconds. Into the chat, please, guys. What do we take away from that? Talking to each other in the breakout room. Would be nice to organize some meetups. Love that, Carol. Carol Thomas, fair play to you. I'm trying so desperately to consistently encourage this. I love it when you guys post a selfie up with other TSDers. So please keep that going. It's why you've noticed every so often, if I speak to someone and I think, you know what, it'd be great for them to meet up, I'll say, anyone here from Manchester? Anyone here from Essex? As I did earlier in the week. So if you do see that popping up and you can, you could travel, geez, definitely do it. Please.
So
do.
does that mean you want a selfie of me and Anne off the weekend? Because we're meeting up on Saturday.
Which Anne? Which Anne?
Anne McCaig.
You're joking. Are you close
No,
to?
no, we're bloody miles away from each other.
Yeah. I was thinking she's way up Scotland.
No, don't worry. I haven't asked Peter to give us a lift to Scotland. I know he's took me to Sheffield and God knows where else, like. But you know,
we're coming down for the weekend, so we're gonna
So
have a coffee together.
I hijacked and said, "Did you fancy meeting for a coffee for half an hour?" But it's Brian's birthday. I was like, "We'll not hijack his birthday. Honestly, we'll just have a quick coffee."
Deborah, I think it's to absolutely chuck it down on Saturday. So
yeah, we'll have our wellies on.
I would definitely encourage that, guys. I can't encourage that enough. That it's so important, actually. Being around people, similar struggles, obviously similar mindsets. It's so powerful. And it's why probably the main reason we do Tough Mudder, obviously apart from the charity side of things, definitely, so we all meet up. And just so you know, skydive, by the way, 28 days before the deadline. So if you're fancying jumping out of an airplane, then you're more than welcome to join us. And I'd obviously love to meet you in person if I haven't met you already. And this week's challenge, guys, is I'd like you to post the inner circle. My elite challenge complete. My personal perspective story. My personal perspective story. And a few weeks ago, hands up here who heard me mention how we get to dictate how we interpret our past. Anyone here remember me saying that? Those are nods, yeah. So what I'd like you to do is using, so what that is, guys, those of you who missed it, is that people always say we can control our future. Ironically, I really believe we can control our past as well. We can't control the events, but we can control the meaning we give to them. We can control the meaning we give to them. So if you're comfortable with doing this, if you share something in the past that maybe really knocked you, but you can look back on it now with a different perspective and you can change the meaning of that. I want, after this week, there to be a completely new meaning on that situation. I want that to no longer be something where you look back and you have dread or emotional struggles. I don't want that to be the case anymore. If it's too deep or too hard, don't do it. But something that you feel you could do, that has happened in the past, that perhaps you gave meaning to, that always pulls you back into that tough place. How can you?
It's not a video though, is it, Alex?
No,
because I wouldn't be able to do a video, but I could type it. I would get upset doing a video.
That's okay. Type a story, definitely type a story. And the objective of anything we ever do in the inner circle is for it to help you and help everybody else. So bear that in mind when sharing it. What is it going to help you? Is it going to help other people? And I hope that helps. I guarantee there'll be someone else that have gone through something similar. So that's it. Dive into it for me, please. I want to thank all of you again for your patience and again for being here. I'm here for once, you say. And I look forward to seeing you again, of course, the next mastermind. And I want to thank you for all the hard work you're doing. And I'm looking forward to reading them. Okay, changing your perspective. Have a wonderful night, guys. All the best.
See you
everybody.
later.
See you
Bye.
later.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.